In this video, we're going to put the ketogenic diet and the eating one meal a day fasting pattern to the test. Deanna and I both get diffusion weight imaged full body MRIs. Long story short, this is an advanced magnetic resonance image of every tissue and organ in our body.
If I had no idea what your birthday is, and actually I never even knew your birthday till you told me.
Say it louder.
I would put you at a 16-year-old female. You know, you're like, oh, muscle.
Well, at least there's muscle. Is there good muscle? Oh my
You
God.
got tons of muscle. Like,
Good.
let me show you how much muscle you have. All this dark gray here, this is all muscle.
What would the percentage be? Can you tell that on there?
We could get an idea, but really the best quantitative test is a DEXA scan.
Okay, I'll just do that.
But like your percentage has to be like 10%.
I know it's pretty low, yeah.
It's like, you know, you can see, for example, if I just zoom this in, you see that white layer there?
They'd love me at the cadaver lab, right? I'll start donating my
But that's
Yeah.
That's all the subcutaneous fat she had,
you
eh?
have,
Wow.
yeah, which is paper thin. And then as well here, your visceral fat. Boy, it's like there's always visceral fat around the kidneys, and you barely have any. Your kidney is wrapped right up here against your liver.
Wow.
Wow, it's right. It's amazing. I've never seen this little amount of fat in anybody.
Is that right?
And so that's from one meal a day.
Well,
How long have you
it's
been
about
doing
1,600 calorie meal. 1,700
Okay.
calories. So I've been doing it for about 7 months, but I was intermittent fasting. I lift a lot of weights, so and I'm still very strong.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating to me. You know,
Because you've done that many scans and you haven't seen someone with this little body fat.
With that much muscle. You mean.
Yeah, with that much muscle and that amount of low fat.
The points that we want to make here, number one, dismiss this myth that the ketogenic diet is somehow bad for your liver and is going to cause non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Because a lot of people have this perception that if you eat fat, it's going to like clog your arteries and clog your liver. And so we're going to cut to some multiple slices of both of our livers. Deanna has been doing intermittent fasting, nutritional ketosis. You started in the winter, I remember December of 2013. I didn't start until 2015. It was May of 2015 when Alessandro Ferretti kind of talked to me about it. So long story short, between the two of us, it's been a combined over 7 years.
Yeah.
Right? Deanna's been following more of a carnivorous one meal a day approach since January of 2019. So it's been 8 months, okay? So I don't know, that seems like a long enough time to see if like things were really regressing, right? If your health was regressing, it would probably show up on a functional test like an MRI.
Right.
So the liver,
Yeah,
I mean-
I can show you. It actually looks quite good. So what we actually have are multiple different filters looking through the liver.
yeah.
So this set of images here, so this is your right side.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start at the top. So this is the base of your lungs. So like the air around you, the lungs are full of air.
Yeah.
So unless there's a tumor mass, we don't see much, which is good in your case. And so when we look through the liver, which sits right here, right, we're looking to see if there's any concerning lesions anywhere in the liver. And so we have, you can see over here, you can see all these different filters working at the same time. And so
Wow.
on this one here, if you had what's called a hepatic adenoma, it would actually have macroscopic fat, which we would see. We're not seeing any of that.
Is this where you see NASH as well?
NASH would actually see on this one.
Oh, that,
below
okay.
it.
That filter, gotcha.
So this filter here is looking for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or basically what we're looking really for is fat. For example, you'll see all the organs. You see how they are outlined in this black
Oh, yeah.
thick line. So anywhere at a pixel level, and a pixel here is about a millimeter or less. If it's black, that means there is fat mixed in with that pixel. So if there's microscopic fat, which is what NASH or non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is, you'll actually see the entire liver being dark.
Wow.
And you don't have that at all.
No liver fat from the high fat diet, curiously.
Well, there you go.
I haven't looked yet.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, in the filter.
So I can tell you that there's no increased iron. So that looks good. And then, yeah, no liver fat. None.
All right.
Looks beautiful.
Nice.
The other thing we're going to talk about is, do high protein diets rot your kidneys? Don't you hear about that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean somehow high protein diets or meat is going to rot your kidneys.
Protein rots your kidneys, so we should expect your kidneys will be
Yeah,
rotted,
kidneys
right?
will be trashed, right?
No? Doesn't look good.
Nice. Body's utilizing it, Mike. Thank you. I need a lot of liver.
And so here's your common bile duct.
Mm.
There's your gallbladder. There's no gallstones in it. And this little line there, that's your pancreatic duct coming all the way across to your pancreas. So another view of the pancreas. Remember we talked about how we like to look at them on multiple planes?
Yeah.
And so the pancreas we look at about 4 different ways. So there it is there. And all the way across. But yeah, so little fat, it's tough to find things.
You know, it's kind of weird. It's just like my bone mass. I was interested to see, because I have such low body fat, what is going on with my bones. Was there any sign of osteopenia or osteoporosis? Because I have strong bones in my family, and so, you know, it's good to get this stuff on video so people, Mike's followers, can see kind of what is going on with my health as I go through this.
So probably the simplest thing is if I was to look at this, if I had no idea what your birthday is, and actually I never even knew your birthday till you told me,
See you later.
I would put you at a 16-year-old female.
16-year-old female. Did you guys hear that? Who just
16-year-old female.
ripped on me in Mike's last post? Not anorexic.
Your bone mass is quite impressive. Your spine is impressive, but most importantly, what actually happens with people who are younger and high-performance athletes is that their bone marrow expands. And so if we look at here, and actually I'll zoom this out. So if we look at you can see there's 2 different types of marrow. There's red marrow, which is red cell producing marrow, and there's yellow marrow, which is fat marrow, which is once the red marrow is replaced. So high performance athletes, the reason they train at altitude is to increase their marrow,
Interesting.
increase their red marrow.
Interesting.
And when we look at your red marrow is coming all the way down to your knees. The average person, their bone marrow ends at their pelvis.
So you'd say
in their 40s.
in their 40s, so around, like you're saying, 20s, 30s, it tends to decrease like that.
Well, when you're a child, your red marrow is going to be about here, and then as you grow, it's going to shrink up to about there.
Wow.
Right? And then in some people, when they get into their 60s and 70s, it'll shrink everywhere, and they basically have, like they have nothing. Whereas your red marrow is, you got the red marrow like a teenager.
Here's the big thing we're going to talk about is the amount of body fat you've been able to lose, and not that you had a lot beforehand, but Raj, the owner of this Pronovo medical test, which is a DWI MRI, which is the most advanced MRI in the world right now. I mean, he said in his over 15-year career of being a radiologist, what did he say about your body fat?
He said I had very low body fat, but a lot of lean muscle.
You're like, oh, muscle.
Well, at least there's muscle. Is there good muscle? Oh my
You
God.
got tons of muscle. Like,
Good.
Let me show you how much muscle you have. It's like,
Mike needs to do this.
I can see.
you can see all this dark gray here. This is all muscle.
What would the percentage be? Can you tell that on there? Like, 'cause I kind of wanted to know, because I've been doing this in...
We could get an idea, but really the best quantitative test is a DEXA scan.
Okay, I'll just do that.
But like your percentage has to be like 10%.
I know it's pretty low, yeah.
It's like, you can see, for example, if I just zoom this in, you see that white layer there?
They'd love me at the cadaver lab, right? I'll start donating my money.
But that's
Yeah.
That's all the
that's the
subcutaneous fat she
subcutaneous
had,
fat
eh?
you have,
Wow.
yeah, which is paper thin.
Wow.
And then as well here, your visceral fat. Boy, it's like there's always visceral fat around the kidneys, and you barely have any. Your kidney is wrapped right up here against your liver.
Wow.
Wow, I was right.
So borderline.
Have you been like fasting to lose fat, or what have
No. I've been doing OMAD, so it's just been kind of an experiment. So yeah, it's just
1 meal a day.
one meal a day, but it's a lot. But I'm finding I have to probably increase my window because I can just tell how veiny I am, But the thing is I feel great. That's the problem. Is I feel so good and energetic, but I don't like the looks. It's more of an aesthetic thing as a woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
And so I just want to make sure, but I don't have any fatigue. Like I feel like my brain is on fire, and I feel like my energy is on fire, and it's more just kind of like I feel like I need to up it because, so I don't know.
Yeah, I really don't know, but it's like it's amazing. I've never seen this little amount of fat in anybody.
Is that right?
And so that's from one meal a day.
Well,
How
it's a
long
bit.
have you
It's
been
about
doing that?
1,600 calorie meal, 1,700
Okay.
calories. So I've been doing it for about 7 months. But I was intermittent fasting. I lift a lot of weights, so and I'm still very strong. And so this is the thing. And so people have seen my body change. Interestingly enough, on like we do a lot of social media, and they're like, you know, it's almost too much. Like I can see every muscle in your body, and I'm like, the problem is that it just kind of happens, you know, when you're intermittent fasting. So now it's just trying to tailor it to kind of soften the look and get some fat in areas that I probably would look better with. So it's been interesting. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating to me. You know,
Because you've done that many scans and you haven't seen someone with this little body fat.
no.
With that much muscle, you mean?
Yeah, with that much muscle and that amount of low fat. Although I have, you know, seen many Peter Attia's patients who are unbelievable because they're very similar.
Thank God.
No,
Thank you.
You know, you know, like I saw.
So mostly men, eh?
Well, I've seen like, you know, I think the most amazing one. There was a gentleman in his early 50s, and I swear, like this guy looked like a 17-year-old hockey player. Right, like, thighs
love
like
it.
trucks, and it was, you know, I was
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, because we, you know, I work with the junior hockey team here, and so you see these young guys who'd have like, you know, thighs
Yeah.
that are like this.
My,
And it's like, you know, to see
Yeah.
a 50-year-old with that, that's my category. I'm thinking, wow, what are you doing?
Yeah,
my
yeah.
muscles keep growing, but my fat keeps burning, and so this is why it's scaring some people who see me, because especially as a woman, because you're like, you know what, it's different because it's like a bystander effect. Like when men have that happen, they're like, whoa, dude, you look amazing, you're ripped. But when they see it for women, they're like, you're anorexic, like you're, you know. And I'm like, I can't. It's hard because the way I feel, my brain has never felt better. I feel like I'm in my 20s.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like I see it, I'm like, oh damn, all right. So interesting. I just wanted you to know from my perspective
Yeah,
kind of what I'm going through with that.
You know, and I think this sort of speaks to what we were talking about earlier with medicine, like how little we know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what is normal? Like,
Right.
our,
like,
you know, like our perception of what's normal now
Yeah.
is that, you know, oh, you should have, you know, you should be more curvy, and you shouldn't look like a bodybuilder.
I guess all I know is I'm
What is
stronger
that?
than I've ever been, and
Yeah.
my brain is like
Exactly.
it wasn't better than it was in my 20s, and I'm 43. So what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
You eat more and you please other people. So they like you on social media, get a like, and you know, it's like ridiculous.
Well, you know, but it sort of says to us, like, you know, we don't actually even understand body's metabolism,
Yeah.
right? You know, and you know, when you talk about like the mTORs and things like that people have a clue about,
Yeah.
right? It's just,
I'm eating 180
Amazing.
grams of protein. I'm 120.
yeah.
What?
So, for example, here you can see that there's a little bit of fat separating the colon and the liver, and now yours here as well are very close, but a little bit of fat just sort of insulating the kidneys.
Mhm.
See that?
Yeah.
That's you,
Look,
Mike?
That's me, yeah.
And Mike is low too compared to a lot of people. And so then we go, Deanna, back to you. And there's like next to nothing anywhere around here.
Wow.
I'm just so glad the muscles there, because shit. Oh, excuse
Ah.
me.
But the muscle, look at it. Wow.
Yes.
Which is this the core muscles we're looking at?
Yeah, so these are the oblique muscles. So that's muscle of the core,
Mhm.
but here's the oblique kind of going from here, like that
Wow.
thickness. And I can, you know, if you're keen to measure it, I can.
Don't measure my glute muscle, please. I'm working on it.
It's 2.3 centimeters, so that's, you know, like that's just under an inch worth of oblique muscles. And you don't see that except in teenagers.
Well then, did you hear him?
Yeah, you never see that in other than teenagers and high performance athletes. And then here's the rectus muscles here as well.
My tiny glute.
No, but your glute is all muscle. There's no fat on there at all.
There you go.
See that cross section? So here's the maximus, medius, minimus,
Yeah.
and there's no fat separating them. So it's all muscle.
So very interesting.
And then we go, here's another side view. We're looking at the uterus. So there's the uterus there.
I have an ID.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
I was just trying to determine if you've had a C-section or not.
I did.
And the answer is yes.
I did.
Oh, because they come in right through there, eh? Through the uterus, eh?
You can see right there, see how it's nice and smooth there, and then there's a little notch right there. So that's the actual incision as they went across the muscle right there.
Wow.
Didn't want it.
Yeah.
And then normally the subcutaneous fat, of which you have none, we can actually see the next part of the incision where they go in. So you can tell if you had a C-section. I guess that's why.
What's that white space?
Bladder. So
Oh.
there's a bladder right there.
Did you have to go pee?
I always have to go pee. But no.
So Raj, we have your scan here. So you were pointing out that's an intra-abdominal fat?
Yeah, so here's my right kidney, my left kidney. You can see how there's all this fat around the kidneys, right? So you can see this is all the visceral fat inside of me. You can see all that white. And here you can see the subcutaneous fat.
Yeah.
And like the crazy thing is like my BMI is on the low side of normal.
Huh.
But I contain it all on the inside.
Wow.
And being Indian, I'm at high risk therefore of type 2 diabetes because
Sure.
I got more visceral fat even though my BMI is normal.
Right.
Actually not normal, low normal. Not just normal.
Textbook, yeah.
Textbook.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm basically a textbook healthy guy, but I know that I'm not
Because
Right.
where it's located.
because of where it's located. And what I do find sort of fascinating about what you're describing with the way you're dieting is that that's how people in India eat.
Yeah.
They don't eat crazy.
Crazy grazing all day.
Crazy amounts. They just
One big
you know,
meal.
Yeah.
It's like 2-hour window though, you know? I mean, so some people do OMAD in 1 hour, but 2 enables you to chew and think and breathe and socialize and do it right. And
Yeah.
so it's like these people judge because it's so different from what we've been socially programmed to do. And I wouldn't eat any other way after doing this for 7 months. And I love food, you know? It's not like I'm dieting, it's just my body metabolizes protein and fat, very little carb, very efficiently, so much more than it was when I was in a larger feeding window.
Wow.
And it continues to surprise me. So yeah,
Yeah.
We will share.
Yeah, no, like
Share
it's,
for sure.
Fascinating to kind of see how it works.
Yeah.
You know, because here you can also see my marrow ends about there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right, so yeah, it's all fat from there. I'm full of fat.
Not for long, Raj. Yeah, and it's a transition period, right? So some people are scared away from it when they start it because they don't feel so good, right? Because your body's going to go through changes.
So I put myself to the test with the OMAD and doing more carnivorous approach, and I was able to maintain my strength, but burn my body's fat for fuel primarily to a point where it was extremely low. So yeah, it's very possible.
To obviously burn body fat and maintain muscle eating 1 meal a day, because that's the biggest concern that so many people have is, am I going to be able to stimulate muscle protein synthesis if I'm eating all my calories in 1 meal? And if you want a little bit more information and some guidance on, some structure, some framework on how to approach a compressed feeding pattern like 1 meal a day, we have a new course that's out, Flexible OMAD. Links are below. We'd love to have you as a part of that, and we have some special bonuses there as well. So,
And there's a reason why we call it Flexible OMAD, y'all, because it is a tool and it's not a diet. Mike will say it's 1 meal a day, but it sounds very restrictive in that case. It's pretty much multiple meals within a short feeding window. That feeding window is not always 2 hours. Sometimes it's a 3 hour. Sometimes on my week it's a 6 hour. So we talk about how to utilize OMAD, 1 meal a day, a short feeding window, throughout your life as a tool when needed.
we paid full price for these. We didn't get a discount. We're investing in our health, as you should too. But we just wanted to share with you kind of the behind the scenes and actually the raw footage, right? As we were learning, just like you were, is our diet, is our lifestyle, what is it doing to our bodies? And now this is just an N of 2 experiment, male versus female, we're different ages and all that sort of stuff. We definitely encourage you, if you have the finances and the time and the interest, to go to Vancouver, BC, go to Pronovo. You can tell them that we sent you and stuff like that. We receive no financial kickback from this. Full disclosure, I heard about Raj and what he's doing over there from Peter Attia's podcast in June. And I think it's pretty amazing. So now we have a good baseline, right? So, we can see, is the diet, is the fasting feeding patterns that we promote on this channel, is it improving or affecting our health in a negative way? And based upon Raj's feedback, he said things look really great. I mean, the low levels of visceral adiposity, virtually the 0 level of visceral abdominal, that is a pro-inflammatory fat. And Deanna was really low. I mean, he said to you, gosh, if I didn't know any better, I would have thought this was the physique of a 16-year-old Olympic athlete. And you're 43, you've had a child before. So, friends, what Deanna's doing is working. If you want to learn exactly what she's doing, links are below. We have a new course. I think you will enjoy it. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. But, this was a really cool experience. I wish everyone could do it. I think it's good to have a baseline. It's good to, as people have said, test, don't guess. A lot of people are just guessing and saying, oh, this diet's the best, or this diet's the best, but they're not actually testing their body in scientific ways. And we're going to reveal Deanna's blood work and my blood work on future videos and talk about what blood tests you should be getting. But that's it for now. I really hope you enjoyed this video.
But no, it's fantastic. We see how these pictures really enable you as a non-medical, a non-any, like non...
physician.
like non-physician, but to actually really understand what's going on, and that's the power of what Prenuvo's bringing to people, is enable you to, first of all, do you have cancer, yes or no, and more importantly, be educated about what's happening on inside, because all you see is the outside. There's a lot more going on inside.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And then, look at my little wimpy obliques compared to yours.
Oh, that is different, eh?
I got little chunks of fat between them.
You want to see that?